It's no secret I've been behind on game releases for some time now. By the time live service died and single-player games became more standard again,
Yeah, the sheep for the streets right there.
my hands were tied with indentured servitude and being homeless, so I may have missed a release or two. I am incredibly late to the Stray party. I know that. It's really only thanks to chronic allergies that I've been sidelined enough to play a little bit of catch-up. So I wanted to express my gratitude towards my dogs, Kaz and Norman, the dust mites in my bed, as well as Benadryl for the opportunity for me to be here before you all tonight. After my initial hesitation hearing Stray was developed by a French studio and the flashbacks that ensued, I finally dipped my grubby paws into the funny sci-fi cat game. And Stray not only sci-fis, but by fucking god does it cat. Keeping in line with the French's tendency to experiment, Stray has a unique and divisive approach to how its platforming is executed. Usually, full control is handed over to the player and the challenge comes from precise timing and understanding every nook and cranny of a respective level or section. You know, like a platformer. Stray throws these ideas to the wind in order to hand you the full, exaggerated swagger of an orange cat. The way the cat jumps is on a sort of rail, so to speak. The specific jump prompts guide the player to each platform, so none of the standard spatial awareness or timing that makes platforming is really here. Initially, this may sound like the worst fucking platformer ever made, but I don't care what IGN says, Stray just isn't really even a platformer. The guided platforming mechanic is done this way in order to cater to the core spooky stealth and classic adventure puzzle gameplay that serves as the actual meat. It's abundantly clear that the majority of Stray's ideas, from its puzzles to its agile platforming to its steep vertical level design, wouldn't work if the cat himself didn't take the reins on the jumps. It's also worth mentioning the majority of cutscenes are rendered in-engine, allowing for some of the smoothest straight cut to action sequences I've ever seen, all pulled off perfectly in tandem to the game's fluid movement. Last minute editor, me here. Cutscenes being rendered on the fly also means you can meow in the cutscenes. The more old-school adventure segments take place in large, open areas with the absolute bare minimum instruction, leaving you free rein to meander and find creative solutions on your own terms. And the high-octane stealth sections aren't held back by any degree of clunk, letting the cat's agility really shine through. These stages also usually revolve around a central gimmick, a short-lived mechanic that levels are usually designed around, initially easing you in before pushing the limits on increasingly radical and creative ideas until there's no more room for it to grow, in which case it's abandoned in order to make room for the next. Ring any bells? Stray's world may initially strike as nothing special, and the big overarching society in which Stray takes place isn't by any means amazing. Straightforward social hierarchy, humanity is extinct, and this wasteland is left with nothing but robots who get less vitamin D than the girl reading this. But the slit pupils and crystalline lens the player views the world and discovers its intricate details through is what makes it work at all. Blue 12 are clearly sticklers, and thoroughly understand the devils in the details. The robots go through extreme lengths to mimic human behavior regardless of their level of sentience. Barbershops running simply for the social aspect, or the police state mindlessly upholding a nonsensical violent authority to no avail, just like real cops.
No pushing there! No! Stop now! Stop! Stop immediately!
Even Zerks, this game's race of little fuckhead, are much more interesting when you discover they're a mix of waste and a chemical solution made to dissolve said waste, left to mix and mold as humanity's fate shit the bed. I could clean house with little elbow grease and a bottle of Goo Gone, but these chlorinated freaks eat through pussy like it's been long distance for 6 months. The world itself isn't anything to write home about. Shit, I wouldn't give it the time of day if it weren't for the intricacies that the devs clearly cared enough about to take the time to fine-tune. This exact same approach is what makes the actual direct story as effective as it is. Our silent protagonist in B12, a very clever name, by the way, are working way past their pay grade as they clean up the remarkably incompetent robot's messes. This cat has more fortitude than the last 12,000 years of his ancestors combined. Maybe humanity's extinction made them actually start doing shit. Regardless, the relationship between the cat and B12 and their clear need for each other's support is emphasized in gameplay. The two are constantly working hand in hand, and sudden separations cause one to jump to the other's immediate rescue. Ring any bells? Unfortunately, whatever was left of the intelligent part of AI must have stocked out when B12 woke up, because everyone you'll meet from here on out is not only completely inept, but also lacks any of the initiative it would take for them to get their GED. The cat is the only one responsible for any of the traction made in this world of robots whose greatest potential peaks around hotboxing in the Dairy Queen drive-thru. Some of these fellas can be a little charming in the moment, but I think I am the first person on God's green earth to think of Baltazar or Momo after a playthrough. And that's just because I'm writing this fucking paragraph. The story is really pushed by B12 and the cat's compassion, and the continuous support of one another and their respective goals, both trying to reach the surface for separate yet similar reasons. Thanks to the clever design and writing between the two, the time spent establishing the close bond between them lets the game pull some genuinely effective emotional jabs in spite of the often cliche and predictable plot points. A major point held against Stray in publications on release was a $40 price point for a 5-hour single-player game released by an independent studio. A complaint I've only seen made by aliens and oddly straw-shaped men who have been oddly quiet since Arcane dropped a $90 a Tyrosine fever dream.
I'm French too.
Shit, Grandpa, how'd you get
They closed my Austin branch. Prey 2 was finished.
Sure it was. Come.
I'm working on Dishonored 4 right now.
Okay, yeah, that sounds great.
Have you played Karma Star? 3.5 stars on Pocket Gamer.
Stray is highly polished, well-designed, and really well executed. You're paying $40 for an expertly crafted banger that's highly replayable if you enjoy staking more challenge into the game. Stray is quite easy. If I can beat it with little issue, so can your toddler. But as someone who doesn't often really enjoy coming back to 100% games, I'm halfway through platinuming this bad boy and have full intentions of finishing it off. There's some real challenges that demand you understand each level and their environment in order to complete, and the ones that don't have you running at Mach 10 are just genuinely a treat to do. I would much rather pay for a replayable 5 to 6 hour game that somehow draws very strong masculine tears from my eyes every playthrough than a full price slopfest. And I know damn well I am not the only one dying on this hill. If you're somehow just as behind and backlogged as I am, I say give Stray the green light and just fucking play it. It's short and its charm shines really early on in order to hook you deep. On a scale of meow to plow, I'm putting Stray right about here. No puss is getting pulverized on my premises. You know you don't have to worry about that. But B12 could get it. If it's the $40 turning you off, it's real easy to catch on sale. You get to jump around as a fucking kitty dude that's worth a bajillion bones all on its own. And you get a cool robot friend who may or may not fill the hole left by your father, who may or may not be in prison. I know you want to. God, you smell so fucking good right now.